My name is Deirdre. I was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia at the age of 35 in 2018, and I've been on the medical trial in the UK for the past coming up to 2.5 years. I apparently had CLL for quite a number of years before I was diagnosed. It came up through different ways, through feeling fatigued, even after having lots of sleep, I would feel very tired. I used to feel quite unfit, so I would get injuries, different injuries. A few of them I had looked up through x-rays, nothing was found. I'd sometimes feel like doing arm exercises, my arms felt kind of hollow. Lots of different bruises which came up very easily, took ages to heal. Lots of different colds and infections and flus which would take a lot longer than a normal person. And I just generally was feeling quite run down for a really long time. CLL wasn't even something I'd even heard of before I was diagnosed. Someone my age, a female under the age of 40, it's incredibly rare to have CLL. And it wasn't until I actually had kind of a random blood test that it was brought up that I had quite a high lymphocyte count. There was no real, real concern, just that you should get this checked out. So it was a few months until I could see a consultant. And he said, for my age, it's probably nothing because you're under 40. I had at the back of my head, my lymph node was quite enlarged, which I had actually mentioned before to my GP. But I hadn't felt very well at the time, so he just said, "Oh, it's probably just your lymphocytes are up and your lymph nodes are up. That's nothing to be concerned about." But my consultant, he said, "This is a bit concerning, and you could have CLL." And then I started researching CLL, and I realized that all of the bullet points online were things that I'd been going through around my mid-20s to my mid-30s. I'd had these kind of vague symptoms, but they all started making sense. So when I was actually diagnosed, my oncologist, he was kind of relieved. And then I said, don't worry, I know I've got CLL. And and that's what it was. My oncologist said that I had accelerated CLL, which meant that I actually had to forego watch and wait. My CLL had got to a point where I couldn't do that. I had to start treatment ASAP. I had to have a few different tests, different scans, my particular biomarkers. I was researching myself, looking at different treatments that I felt would be best for me. And I came across the FLAIR trial. I was speaking to my oncologist about, could I possibly take part in the FLAIR trial in the UK? And he said I'd have to have quite a few different tests just to see if I was a suitable candidate. I was found to be a suitable candidate for the FLAIR trial. And I was slightly hesitant because I read that I would have to have more observation. I actually quite liked, having my CLL looked at more. And so I was quite positive about starting the trial. So I got onto the FLAIR trial. So I was fortunate enough to be randomized into trying the two drugs that I particularly wanted, that I thought would be best for me. So far, I've been very, very fortunate. One thing I've learned through having CLL is that for everyone, CLL is slightly different. So with my particular biomarkers, I felt that the drugs that I was randomized on would work best for me. Obviously, it depends, on your situation, which drug would be best for you. I was very fortunate that I got on the trial. And I'm very, very happy that I'm on the trial. I would say to people who are considering starting a trial to really, speak to your oncologist, speak to your doctors. If you can go online, there's particular CLL forums online. You can speak to quite a few other people who are on trials. and ask them questions. Again, everybody's CLL is different. So just because one drug worked for someone doesn't necessarily mean that the drug would work in the same way for you. But I really would recommend the trial. The care that I had from my nurses and doctors and oncologists has just been amazing. I do think, I've had such fantastic care. So I would have to have maybe a few more tests, a few more scans than usual, a few more biopsies, but I would have to have some anyway, and they're actually not that bad, biopsies. And I think that a lot of these things, I would read about them online first, and sometimes they seem worse than they actually are. You imagine them to be worse than they really are. I would really recommend getting onto a medical trial if it's available to you, and if you can get on the trial. If I could go back to my pre-diagnosed self, I absolutely definitely would have said, pay more attention to how you feel, your body. Speak to your doctor about it, but don't just rely on one doctor. Do keep an eye on these things, which is, over many years, all these small things, all these lumps and fatigue and bruising and everything like this. It all seems like it's not connected. I wish I could go back and to get checked out properly, even if I maybe had to go private healthcare to get myself checked out, because I just deep down I knew there was something not right. And I wish I'd been a bit more confident in getting the observation that I needed to have a full blood count and have everything looked at. I wish I could go back and maybe get a second opinion. My medical trial in total is going to be 6 years. I'm very fortunate I started actually before COVID-19, so all the times that I had to go into hospital were beforehand. I'm still on the same drugs now, and I'm doing really, really good. I think everyone needs to decide for themselves and think, what's best for me. Is a medical trial best for me, or just having normal treatment if it's best for them? Everybody's CLL is different, but the medical trial has been fantastic for me, and I would really recommend it to anyone who is suitable for a trial. I would absolutely recommend it.